Hello everyone, my name is Ron Whittington, a student at Kaiser University College of Golf, and for the advanced golf class, what we're doing is I'm going to demonstrate the golf swing as far as the down sequence and how the kinematic sequence and the kinetic sequence is affecting in that swing, okay? I'll go over both, show you what the differences are and how they both relate to the swing though. To begin with, we're going to start from the bottom up with the kinetic sequence. It is our ground force. It is where we're going to get our stability. It's our force that we have through our setup, okay? So this is going to create our movement, our motion. This is where we get that kinetic sequence, okay? So for example, to kind of explain to you what this is, if you're sitting in a rolling chair, okay, and your feet are still on the ground, you can swing as hard as you're comfortable swinging and nothing's really going to change because you still have that ground force connected, okay, with your feet on the ground. So if we interrupt that and break that sequence up, we lift our feet up and we try swinging, okay, well, we're going to be flailing around because we're not connected to anything. There's no movement, no motion into that ground force since it's been disrupted. What that's going to do is cost all your swing speed. Okay, so the ground force is vital for that, getting that speed and that foundation for your swing. The next step is that kinematic sequence, okay? So now we got our foundation. We know that with kinematic sequence, it's energy, it's the motion that we're gonna be measuring, okay? That movement of your swing. That's what we're looking for and that's what we're gonna measure. So for us today with the ground, when we're talking about our backswing and then the approach, there's a 4-step checkpoint that you want to be hitting to make sure that sequence is still in order. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over those 4, how they affect it, and as well as give you an example to where it might help you remember that sequence a little bit easier, okay? So to begin with, all right, your backswing, most golfers, if you look at pro golfers, backswings are fairly similar, and then you have your sequence through, okay? So with that, your backswing doesn't start when you're all the way at the top. It starts just before it because you have that transition period from you're coming back and then that attack, okay? So that backswing, it's starting before you hit the top of your swing path, okay? So to start, our first checkpoint that we're gonna be looking for on that golf swing, all right, is that loading into the ground, okay? It's a subtle movement. You don't have to be dramatic with it. It's just a subtle weight shift in pushing that energy into the ground, okay? Because what we're trying to do is build up all this energy up through these checkpoints to create a great impact point when we hit the golf ball, okay? All that energy be released right into that golf swing to get a nice, beautiful ball flight, okay? So we got our weight dropped. That energy is into the swing or into the ground. Okay, next step is that rotation. We're going to rotate our trunk. Okay, third, the energy is still moving up through our body. Now we're at our arms. So that lead arm, it starts pulling through, okay? It's coming through our swing. Lastly, the last point where we want our energy is that pull from our golf club. It's the last checkpoint you're looking for, is to get that club head through swing and impact to create a great ball contact. All right, so again, as I referred to, there is another example from Mr. David at TPI, Titleist Performance Institute. He calls it a 4-horse race, okay? So how we're gonna do that, very simple. Again, we're at the top. First one, that weight transfer to where we're pushing that energy into the ground. We're dropping our weight, it's going into the ground. Second horse, we're rotating, okay? So we got that trunk rotation. That's our second horse. Our third is this lead arm. So again, that energy is coming up, lead arm pulling through. That last little bit of energy, we want it all into that club head, and that's our 4th checkpoint, that club head coming through and making great contact with your golf ball. So that's your 4 steps. The 4-horse race, whichever you can refer back to and remember better to kind of work on that sequencing for yourself is best, okay? So with that as well, the kinematic swing is not specifically, that sequence isn't just specifically for golfers. All sports use it in their own version. Football, if you're throwing a football, that quarterback, he has to have a sequence to throwing that football to be efficient with that energy that he's created through that kinetic sequence as well as that kinematic sequence. So he's got that and he's throwing the football as efficient as possible. The next one is a runner, okay? If we have a runner and they're on a streamline and they're staying straight in line, coming straight through their run, they're being efficient with their run. We've all seen that one person, whether school, out on public walkways, jogging, and then they're kicking their feet out. That's not the most efficient use of your running path or of that energy. So if they would fine tune that sequence instead of flaring their leg out and come straight through, it would improve their running results. So again, back to golf, that sequence, using that energy properly to create a great swing and great club path to create a perfect, ideally, a perfect contact with that golf ball when you come through. So lastly, when it comes to kinematic sequence, is that say you get out of order, and you can identify that as, say you forget to, drop your weight, but you've already trunk rotated. So you skip step 1 and you're already at 2. Well, that's kind of locked your body out now. So what's going to happen is you're going to come over and it's going to mess with your ball flight path, and it's going to create a very steep angle of attack to that golf ball. So with that being said, all right, we've went over your kinetic sequence, which is that ground force. We went over your kinematic sequence, those 4 steps or checkpoints or the 4-horse race. However you can remember that best to be able to check your swing for that, that's ideal. Whichever one applies best for you and you can understand and remember, that's ideal. To wrap this up, the kinematic sequence, if you want to think of it this way too, one last thing is a whip. If you're doing a full whip, the kinematic motion is the motion of that whip, and then that crack at the end. That's the impact with your golf ball. Your energy's went all the way to the end, so the energy of that whip, it creates that crack. The energy of your swing, when it's in the proper sequence, is cracking your golf ball. It's hitting that impact, creating a great golf ball contact, ideally. Again, my name is Ron Whittington, a student of Kaiser University for advanced golf instruction. Thank you for watching, and good luck with your swing.